Okay, hi everybody. Welcome again to Yeshiva Classroom. We had some technical difficulties, but now we're back on shape. So we're going to start our program with a young neighbor, and her name is Sipori, which is my bird, which is a beautiful, in Hebrew, that's beautiful. To be named such a beautiful bird. So, see, when you're on, you can see yourself. Now, let me ask you, where did you go to school? You have to speak loud because it's a bad camera and you got to speak slowly.
High school?
Yeah, wherever you started.
I went to SK for high school.
Oh, really? SK's. And after you finished high school?
I went to a year in Israel at Midrashet Harova.
And in a seminary over there?
Seminary, yeah, in the old city.
In the old city?
Yeah.
You must know, you know Ruthie Schnee? Ruthie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my granddaughter.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
We have to talk. Okay, so, look, you know, I was working on a garden out here. You have to get a little bit closer. I was working on a garden, and Teddy came by.
Yeah, Teddy. my dog.
That's a little doggy, and I asked her, I said, would you like to hear? I said, I know that the family is religious because everyone walks Teddy, and I know Teddy belongs to a religious family, observant family.
Yes.
So I asked her point blank. I said, "Would you like to be on my program?" And you know, most people are a little bit apprehensive. And what are you doing? So anyway, here we are, and we started about a half hour ago, and we ran into technical difficulties. So you know, I have trouble hearing and whatever. So she spoke to our studio in Florida, and she walked us through. I don't know if it'll show.
Yes, she did.
Anyway, here we are. We're trying to reach the people out there. Where anytime that you want to interrupt me and to say something, please do, because they don't want to hear me. They want to hear a young lady.
Okay.
So you know, this is being recorded on August the
17th.
18th.
No, 17th.
You sure it's the 7th? It's
Right.
today.
Yeah, it's the 17th.
17th, on Tuesday the 17th. Okay, so we're heading toward Pasha Akev, and Pasha Akev means there's a portion of the Torah that is read every week, and the portion that we have this week is Pasha Akev. And you know, it's a beautiful book, the Torah, and it's so unique in that it has everything in it. It has you know, reward, punishment, creation, laws, songs, everything. I mean, it's everything that you could possibly think of. It's in there, and it's like a symphony. It's like a symphony. You know, it all together. It makes for a beautiful sound, and that's what we were given. You want to say anything that comes to your mind?
On Parsha Akev? On the Parsha?
Anything. Doesn't have to be on the Parsha. Anything that well, you'll think a little bit.
Yeah, I'll think
okay.
a little bit.
And you know, Akev. You see, the book of Deuteronomy is a sort of a recapitulation of the entire previous Torah, bringing out some highlights, high points, and it goes into generalities of the previous parsha, right? And there are also 70 new laws that are taught in the Chelek, the portion of Devarim, right? And we read this portion entitled Akev, which is reward, all throughout. You know, Leviticus 26, 1 to 15, do the commandments and you'll be rewarded. 28, chapter 28 in Deuteronomy, do the commandments and you will be rewarded. You'll be rewarded. And that's what it says in Akev. Do all the mishpatim and the chukim, all the laws that make sense, that have reasons for it, and those that don't make sense. And those that don't make sense, you're to follow them and to observe them, and you will be rewarded. Only Bilam made no conditions. If you're good, you'll be rewarded. Bilam, the Gentile prophet, he said, without any conditions, he gave him 3 blessings. It's a people that dwells alone. It's a people that not to be accounted amongst the nations. And that we see in United Nations, that Israel is not allowed in the Security Council on the rotating basis. Israel is not allowed. And also the second bracha is how beautiful are your inhabitants. They're like streams of passing through the sweet smelling aloes, and also Matovo Holech Yaakov, how beautiful are your tents of Jacob, your dwelling places of Israel. So those are all blessings that Bilam, the Gentile prophet in the Torah, said about the Jewish people. He blessed them. He said they're so great. And there was no conditions that if you behave yourself, you'll get rewarded. So that's very unique. So listen, if you try saying anything, you'd be surprised that something leads to another thing.
Should I say out of Parsha?
Anything you want to say.
Okay, I'll say something.
Slowly though, but you have to be slowly.
I'll say something that I read about this week's Parsha. That I read that it says in this week's Parsha that Hashem created the world with Chesed, and that's to show. It's first Moshe. It's part of Moshe's closing speech is he goes over all the sins that Bnei Israel did. So saying why is he also going over their sins after saying all the good stuff? And it's to show Hashem's chesed for us.
Chesed, kindness. Totally kindness. And we to emulate that kindness.
Yeah. So we since he's talking about all the good stuff and then he talks about the bad stuff, it's to show that Hashem's kindness is so great that we did all these really bad sins, but he still forgave us. And then Moshe's telling us this now before he dies, to teach us a lesson that we have to teach this to our kids, that no matter what, God will always forgive us. Even if we do the worst sins, he's always there and he'll always forgive us.
Yeah, that's a very beautiful concept.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, one place in the Torah that when the Jews came down from, when Moshe came down from Sinai and he broke the tablets, and it alluded to that place as Di Zohav. What does it mean, Di Zohav? He said, the Jews are saying, it's enough gold. Mm-hmm. You gave us the gold. You gave us too much gold. And look what we did with it. So the point is, that was very bad that they did. And throughout the Torah, it talks about the transgressions that they did. The transgressions. And still God forgave them, and he tested Moshe. He said, "I'm going to destroy these people, and I'm going to make a new people out of you." So it was a test for Moshe. Moshe prayed to God that they should forgive him. Vayachel, in Exodus in chapter 22, he prayed proficiently that please forgive them. V'yinochem. And he was forgiven. And he said, I will reconsider, v'yinochem. And we read that on every fast day. Mm-hmm. We read that section. Mm-hmm. So that's very interesting. But we want to let that the people know, and that God knows that there will always be a remnant of the Jewish people that will survive. There will always be a remnant, and we will carry on that tradition, the teachings that we got from our forefathers till the next generation. And you know, after the breakup of the Roman civilization, and there was the Greek Hellenizers were being broken up because the people forgot, they didn't want to go into those gods that the Greek invented, the sun god and Mercury and all these kind of things. So they wanted to look for something different. And Judaism was there at that time to give them Judaism. But the problem was that they had to go through bris milah, which is you know, it's a big thing. Bris milah, a circumcision of the male, and also the commandments. Now, what did the Christianity do? They said, well, listen, we'll make compromise. But Judaism is not going to compromise these laws and directives of the Torah. They're not going to compromise. And so, and that's why when Moshe came down from the mountain, he saw the people dancing, and like, well, let's incorporate that into Judaism. No, he broke the rather than compromise. He broke the tablets. Anytime you want to jump in on anything. You know, in Devarim, in Devarim, we have in chapter 4 in the Parsha is a section that we read called Devarim, where it talks about not making an idol of anything that you see in the sky or on the ground or under the earth, in the water, and not a man to worship an idol. So the question is, well, listen, I mean, we need such a charge because what person's going to worship a man god? I say, well, why do you give us this for? You hear the question?
Yeah.
Repeat the question to the people.
Why would they worship an idol? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. It was going to worship a man as a god.
Yeah.
So the answer was, you hear it? You see, everything's answer and kasha and teretz, you know? So the answer that is given is that, you know, at Sinai, they heard a voice of a man. It sounded like a man. And they saw fire. And they saw the Egyptians died and drowned by when they started war. So they say, yeah, you must be a man. You must be a God, must be a man. Because they heard the voice.
Right.
You like that?
Yeah.
You see, the people don't understand that kasha and a teretz that you have is it makes you feel good. And just the kasha itself, just getting the question, good question. You know, anytime you want to, I don't want to monopolize the situation. And if you can say something, the people will appreciate it more than me. Now she has a lot of yichud. She has a grandfather that's a rav of a shul,
Yeah.
right? And she has one uncle made aliyah, and she's going back also.
Yeah.
Look, and she knows my granddaughter. We have to talk after the program. So where were we? So the point is, you know, there was a Pew study, P-E-W. You heard of Pew?
No.
Pew is an organization that, by studying individuals in a particular group, can come up with a statistic as to where the group is heading, based on the findings of some individuals in the group.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So they made a study of day school graduates, and they came out with 3 out of 4 left the fold, did not become observant. 3 out of 4. They said, well, what I need all these restrictions. They said, you know, I want to enjoy life. I don't need people the book to tell me I can't do this, I can't eat that, I can't work, I can't, I like it. I don't need the restrictions. And they don't realize it, that they're like, I gave you this before. They're like, what?
The antibodies?
Right. See, you know, I saw, you know, I do gardening. I got it. You like my flowers? You know.
Love it. I love walking by. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't want to become involved with that, but the point is, one thing led to the next, and I just put in 2 plants today. You have to take a look on the other side. Anyway, what we're talking about? So
yeah, the antibodies. What you told me.
Yeah. So you know, a person is born with antibodies. You know, I didn't have a chance to look at what I was going to talk about. So we have antibodies. You know, one for measles, one for chicken pox, one for all these kind of things. And some antibodies are not so strong, like especially the COVID virus. People have a stronger able to fight these invaders. So these are invaders that coming in to you. They're coming in, and you think, well, you know, why I can't speak to a woman? I can't hear them sing, because one thing will lead to the next. And there's antibodies to stop you, because eventually, God forbid, you'll go into adultery. And we see it also frequently. Yeah, I lost my notes over here. Yeah, so we see it also. So just say, oh, I don't need this, I don't need that, and here we don't have the notes, whatever. So it's ad lib, and you know, so you say, what I need it for? This is written a long time ago. No, and this is what education is failing. I'm talking about the day school education. You know, everything, did you learn Gemara? Did you have a chance? No. You know, everything is, you know, the first few people got it, so let's run on to the next piece. And I got it, nice, the very intelligent people? No. They have to give people individual instruction, individual one-on-one practice to help them, because everyone is not running at the same pace.
Yeah.
They're not running at the same pace. Oh, well, forget it. Let's go on further. That's not right. That's not right. You have to let everyone get it. We're a company of kingdom, all of us. Not that the rabbi has to speak. And when the rabbi speaks, he's doing all the work. He's doing this, making a sermon, and he prepared for it. And the congregants comes into one, goes into one ear and goes out the other ear, because they didn't prepare and they didn't review. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm just saying that that this is not right, and that's why people are falling. And another thing is, the beginning of knowledge is fear of heaven. Where do we get that from? The beginning of knowledge is the fear and awe of heaven. Now, that's so important. That's so important. We have to realize that all of these things that come about, even an individual with a brain and the ability to move and to do all kinds of things. I mean, it's a computer set on flesh and blood. And when an outside force attacks it, look, I on the twigs I cut myself a couple days ago. I cut. Can you see that? Is that on the?
I think you can see it.
Higher?
No, it's good. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, it was a cut. So what happens? It was bleeding a little bit, but I put a Band-Aid on it. But underneath there, the blood has sends out an alarm throughout the system. sends out an alarm that there's an accident, there's an invader. Cut. We have to take care of it. We have to, it's built into our system. Oh yeah, it just so happened by evolution. What evolved from one thing to the next thing. But baloney. That was God put those creations in your system. And what happened to? So what happened? So they send out an alarm, and all the cells, you know what to do. They have a general contractor. We have to get. You're in there, right?
Yeah.
We have to get rid of the damaged material, right? We got special workers that come out. They phagocytes. They eat up the dead material and bring it to the dump, and then they bring out another guys to put the foundation, to reconnect the blood vessels, to put the pipes in, to put the water system in, to put the plumbing in. I mean, what does this come automatically? This just builds up itself, and then when you get to the skin, you're not special workers. The cells, you got to call these guys in to put the skin grafting on there.
No coffee.
And the government puts so much money and showing that we evolved. Oh, look at this picture, the drawer. They became a bunch of brackish water got together, and boom, it became protoplasm and life and a fish and an amphibian, and that's ridiculous. And here we have in the land of Israel and in the religious sections, we have those people that believe and were taught what the Torah is teaching us, that we were created, and to acknowledge that creation, we are to cease from doing malacha, avodah. What is malacha? What do you mean you can't do any work? Well, can't do work, I like doing this. It's malacha. What 39 categories? 39 categories of not being able to do. And God made a covenant. God was talking to the people, in 25:8 in Exodus. He says, make for me a mishkan so that I can dwell amongst you. In Exodus, write it down. 25:8. Make for me a mishkan so that I can dwell amongst you. And so all the chapters, they put all the material. They got lumber and the silver and made the ark and all these appurtenances. What's appurtenances mean? Furniture. All the furniture. They got all the furniture together.
Really? She said that's him.
And I want to tell you, let me finish this thought. They got it all together and just about winding it up with all the furniture and all the pictures of everything. We went right into the program. We don't have all our props. I'm the production manager, and I'm the actor, and that's it. So what happened? So all of a sudden, it says it's finishing up, but it said in chapter 31, verse 13. It says over there, you should keep the Shabbos because building the Mishkan, a temporary home for Hashem. He said. He said, Shabbos is a sign between me and your generations to come, that on that sign, on that day, you will be holy. 31:13. And that day you will be holy. Now, holy is really a physical characteristic. And we don't realize it, but it's like a live wire. You don't know if it's live or not. Or how water, is it hot or cold?
Which one? What?
But so holy, when you keep the Shabbos, you have a feature upon you that signifies that you are different. You're holy, and God made a covenant over there, a covenant within the covenant. Because when was the first covenant given? Well, actually, we have a covenant. There was a sort of a covenant between Noah and the flood.
Yeah.
He said, he said, "You're a righteous person. I will save you, and I'll give you general rules to follow, 7 categories to follow." It was sort of like
The seven mitzvahs of Bnei Noah.
right, 7 mitzvahs of the sons of Noah to follow, but it didn't demand these things.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to Abraham, God said, I came to Abraham in a vision, and he made a covenant between the parts, right? Well, tell him the covenant between the parts. What is that? What happened? But Abraham, what did he vision? What did he see on that covenant? What was it? It was the animals he had to divide. Had to divide the animals, and a smoking furnace and a fiery torch went through there, and he had to sign. That was the covenant between God and Abraham. And chapter 18, 19, I've given this out before. Says.
I know, not that. If you don't, I know exactly.
Says over there. I watch when I'm off. I'm the producer and the prop manager and the cameraman too. Not that I know anything about camera. This pro would not have come about if it wasn't from Sipori.
With the help of Laura. With the help of Laura from the.
No, I don't hear that well. I'm getting older. I'm old. The point is, she was on the phone with a smartphone,
It was on FaceTime.
FaceTime, and she was getting, when I get this film, I have to send it to Florida, who documents it into DVDs and to other forms, depending on which the channel needs the thing. So we couldn't start I couldn't start the camera. So we called Laura up in Florida, and with her phone, she was able to see my camera. And what was the problem?
Some buttons were a little mixed up.
It was all mixed up.
Yeah.
Ugh, it was all mixed up. Well, how am I going to get it the next time?
No, it's fixed now.
It's fixed now.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so where were we? So I don't have the Gemara. Oh boy, where's the fixture? Where's the light man? Will you get the light back on? Where's that light man? Come on, man. Oh boy. We have just breakdown after breakdown. I'm paying their union wages and I don't see anybody doing any work around here. I can't get over that. You were in the same class as my granddaughter?
I was a year above her.
You're a year above her?
Yeah.
How do you like that? I don't know. So, no, we got down to serious business. We have probably 30 minutes to go.
Okay.
So, you have something to say? You think it's something? So, look, I don't have where my Gemara is, but if you send a self-addressed envelope to this address, Torah for All, 349 Rugby, Cedarhurst, 11516. I'll send you a copy of the Gemara in English, and you don't need a rabbi. But you have to fight the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is going to stop you. What's the Yetzer Hara? You have to speak louder.
I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, it's an outside force that keeps you from
doing the good.
Doing good. It's an outside force keeps you from from doing good. So you're going to sit down and open up the page with everything in English, and it has footnotes on it. All you have to do is Torah for All. That's the name of the charitable organization. But we're not asking for money because we're not allowed to on public access. But we can send you a copy of the first page of the Talmud. Free. Just give me a self-addressed envelope. That's that. Now, look, there's anti-Semitism is rife, and unfortunately, little Israel has been pressured to do things. Are you familiar with the politics in Israel, with the different parties, that the elections coming up?
Oh, no.
No. Okay, we're going to get your forte. You'll get wind up to one of these things. But anyway, there's an election coming up, and in Israel, right? You know some of the parties? The Aguda, the
Likud. Is that one of them?
Likud, and Avnet Yehuda with Ben Gvir, Jewish Home, and Religious Zionists, which Smotrich, whatever. So America tries to, you know, it's such chutzpah that America, under Biden, tries to swing the election. You know, first of all, as soon as he got elected, he gave over $500 million to UNESCO, which is an anti-religious organization against Israel. As a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, they were suspended. Even as awful as they are, the UN body suspended the teachers because they were teaching hatred. Well, that didn't bother Biden. It's like he's got a knife in your back. He said, oh, we'll be friends, you know, we'll be friends, we love each other, it goes back for centuries. Ireland never accepted one Jewish refugee from Hitler's Jewish war, the war in Germany. Not one did they accept. But he makes it as if Herzog, the president of Israel, is from Ireland. His grandfather is from Ireland, so Biden is from Ireland, and so we have close connections. It's not close connections. As a matter of fact, in the war in Ukraine, the United Nations ambassador Linda Francis Greenfield, who has a bachelor degree, and she's the head of the United Nations appointed by Biden, and she pressured Israel to condemn Russia for the invasion. Sure, we know Russia is evil in doing that bad thing, but Israel has to protect itself in the fact that they have access to Hezbollah in the northern borders of Israel. They have to protect themselves, and Russia lets them protect themselves. Oh, but Greenfield, the United Nations ambassador, said you have to condemn Russia. So Lapid, like you know, stupid as he is, condemned. Wait, could you get the light man to get us the fixer over here?
Yeah.
So they condemn. Let me get it. Let me get this over there. So they condemned. They condemned Israel. They condemned Israel. Now they got Brazil. They asked Brazil to condemn Russia, right?
Mm-hmm.
They condemn Russia for what they did. Oh, said no, we're not condemning them because we get our fertilizer from them. And you know, Brazil has a lot of rainfall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Near the equator, they have a lot of rainfall, so they need fertilizer to get the crops growing because everything's leached down.
Mm-hmm.
Said, oh no, we're not condemning them. They have close to like 800 million people. Not condemning them. They asked India to condemn Russia for what they did in Ukraine. No, you're not going to condemn them because we deal with them. We deal with Russia. They have 1 billion people, over 1 billion people. So what do? Little Israel. You know how many Jews in Israel? 7 million. They got little Israel to condemn Russia. And now Russia's they're putting down the pressure on them. We can't let the Chabad operate in Russia. We can't take the books out of Russia. Yeah, that's because of Lapid, and he's running for the election. So it's look, that's, you know, and Biden, he went to Israel and Yerushalayim, and a capital of a Jewish state. And what did he do? When he crossed a certain street, he took off the flag of Israel and put on a Palestinian flag. You read about that?
No.
Yeah, he took out the Palestinian flag in the capital of Israel. Yeah, he took out, this belongs to Palestine, whatever that means. Now I had a person was going to get me a flag of the one Indian nation. There's a nation called One Indian Nation where they sold where they stole the land from the Indians. They stole the land. America stole the land. And Kansas alone, they stole 200 million acres. And they're trying to buy it back, buy back. They got 150 acres, the Indians in Kansas, they bought back. Oh, where are the 200 million? And then that they stole. Why doesn't Biden go worry about his own backyard instead of worrying about Israel? Because he's an anti-Semite. He hates Jews. That's it. Simple as that. And he sends money galore to the terrorists and to go out and kill Jews, and then they get into so the terrorists say, well, it's a vacation. I'm going to go to the prison. It's a hotel. They even raped the guard that let that happen. And what happens to the terrorists? His families are paid from the Palestinian Authority. Who pays the Palestinian Authority? America, you and me, pay the terrorists for killing Jews in Israel. So you have to vote Ben Gvir in this election. I'm sorry I'm putting you through it. We still have about 20 minutes at the 8.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, how about, want to contribute something, anything off from the Seder, from what course did you learned Tanakh? What Tanakh did you learn? Anything you remember offhand?
I learned a lot of Tanakh.
What?
I learned a lot of Tanakh.
Yeah, okay. Let me see. You know anything offhand that you remember offhand?
What Sefer?
The what?
What part?
Any book you want to talk about. Now, and you heard of Zelensky?
Yeah.
He is fighting Russia.
Yeah.
And Russia's fighting the Ukraine. And every day, many people are killed.
Yeah.
And you know who Zelensky is?
Yes, the president of Ukraine.
Right, and you know that he's Jewish.
Yes.
And his parents are Jewish.
Yes.
But we're getting you, if you're blocking this, you're blocking this. So you have to, and his parents are Jewish. And he's, and Babi Yar, where they killed 50,000 Jews in a matter of 4 days, is in Ukraine. It says over there that they will, those, the blood of your brother cries out to you. It's in Genesis chapter 9 verse 6. The blood of your brother cries out to you. And if he is not punished, these murderers, if they're not punished, they will be punished in the next world, in Gehenna, in the soul world. And we have to realize that everything, so that God breathed into the soul of man in 12:7, that God breathed into the soul of man, and the soul returns to God who gave it. That's in 12:7.
Mm-hmm.
And Shlomo wrote that book. The soul returns to God who gave it. Hopefully, it has become better than what it was given. And if it does become better, you get get a passing mark. Rabbi Chaim Luzzatto tells you what a passing mark is, and you be able to sit with in the presence of the Shekhinah, and you say you can relive all the great deeds that you did in color. They'll be played back to you. The Gemara says all the good deeds that you did, they will be played back in living color. That you will enjoy the reward of all the work that you did. So, you know, Ukraine is trying the Russian soldiers who committed war crimes. But what about the Jewish 6 million that were sent to 50 concentration camps, 50, from northern Germany all the way to Eastern Europe, Poland, whatever, 50. They killed the soldiers who threw the gas into the chambers over there. Who killed these people? Where are they? Where are the war crimes? No. Before they go on anybody else, they're all dead. That's all right. I want to know who they were. What's their names? The Germans are organized. They know what everybody did and where they are and what happened to them. Okay, you know, here's some of the infamous people in throughout our history. Edward I in England. You go from England, he made a rule that no Jews allowed there, no Jews allowed. Threw them out. And in November, he asked the sheriff, did you throw them all out? Yeah, we threw them out. Then Cromwell rescinded the order. And throughout the history, you have pilgrims. Pilgrims were, before the Crusades, the Pope sent out pilgrims to places where someone had a vision of their God. And on the way to the place, they killed Jews, broke Jews, killed them, murdered them. So we have to remember, if you die solely because you're a Jew, you get Olam Haba automatically. So that's the purpose of the subject of scapegoat. You know, Jews were called scapegoating, and what happened was that in 1530, Mr. Tinsdale of Europe decided to translate the Torah into English. When he came to the Indian of the two goats, the one he sent to Azazel, and the other one was for a korban. So the one he sent to Azazel, he didn't know how to translate it. So he translated escaped, even though it was, hold this, it escaped, the escaped goat, escaped goat. So what happened over there? So what happened? That's how they translated a scapegoat. So throughout the years, when people had wars, like the Greeks, Seleucidians, and against the other people that inhabited the Middle East, and they fought to a tie, and there was a Jewish population, it was small. And he said, listen, why do we have to fight each other? Let's take it out on the Jews. Let's blame the Jews. They didn't do anything, but what's the difference? Well, they're just a minority. And that's how it became from scapegoat, to scape. Drop the E. The Jews are the scapegoat. But we can still carry on, because God pays attention to us and He keeps us in the fold. lest we go astray and get assimilated. We have to work hard, and especially in our teachings, in our anything in Tanakh, anything from Shlomo, David, we have the classic example of the Goyim. They want to take revenge, but the Jewish people don't take revenge. They ask God to take revenge for us, but we don't take revenge. So what happened was that this party, the Hatfields and McCoys, for instance, they damaged, someone killed one of their family, so they retaliated and they killed somebody from that family, and then they retaliated again into another family, back and forth. But the Jews, they have a Ir HaMiklat, which is if a murderer unintentionally killed, he goes to the city of refuge, and you can't touch him. So this stops the violence of revenge. So that's why the Jews don't have revenge like the Goyim, where they're constantly fighting each other, the mafia, different families fighting each other. US terrorists. So I planted two, Choshen loved it. I planted two bushes there. You have to take a look at the color. You hear? You have to take a look at the color that I planted, the color of these bushes.
Yeah.
You're going to say, wow, I couldn't resist them. Yeah. Now, so I don't have my my brachas here, the Talmud, but remember, I taught previously, the Talmud, the first Talmud says, Me'amosai kara neshama bi'arvin. From when to when do we say the Shema Yisrael prayer of the evening? And by the way, the Shema Yisrael prayer is so important.
In this week's Parsha.
What?
This week's Parsha, the second paragraph of Shema.
Yeah, right. It's in this week's Hedra. And what does it follow?
The last week's Parsha had the first paragraph, and then
The what?
the first paragraph of Shema
Yeah.
is in last
And
week's Parsha.
it has the 10 Aseres Adibros.
Yeah.
That the only physical object that God gave to man. Aseres Adibros. So it's so important that the next parsha deals with Shema Yisrael. You should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. But how do you love an entity without form? It's difficult to love an entity that has no form, because that's the first commandment. I am the Lord your God. Lord your God. It was given to the Jewish people. So the next words are V'ho yu ha'devarim ha'eleh. How do you love God? By
following His word.
Right. These are the words. You learn the words. That's how we do it. We have to learn the words of God. And that He gave us. I mean, He gave us the Torah. Yeah, so, do you believe that? I don't know what. The guy put in a new type of switch, but I don't know what happened. The light goes on. Perhaps these union people are taking wages and they don't do any work.
Yeah.
I mean, keep the lights going. I mean, I'm paying an electrician. What does he pay? I don't know. So, see, I don't have my notes here. Solving and this. So the salmon. You ever do any shopping?
Sometimes.
Anyway, the salmon in the stores that have a hechsher on it, and those stores in the neighborhood, they go for $13.99 a pound.
Wow.
But there's another store, a big supermarket, has a hechsher, goes $8.99 a pound. You're saving $5 a pound. I can't tell you the name of the store because it's public access. But shop around. $5 a pound on fish. Solving anti-Semitism. So how do you solve anti-Semitism? There's Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 9. He says, walk in the ways of God and do the commandments, and all the people will have awe and fear of you. You're familiar with that, Pussy?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. 28:9. Walk in the ways of God and do the commandments, and all the people will have awe and fear of you. And you don't have any anti-Semitism. I looked at R7, they're putting swastikas on in the cornfields, and also your mother made me not know that you're here. You know, maybe she's staying late. I said it's an hour, and she's.
I told her.
Huh?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, but I don't want to be. I have 10 minutes more to go. So Solomon, 28:9, 28:9. So Moshe Rabbeinu. He's called Moshe our teacher, because he was at the in the 11th month before his death. He gave out several directives, several narratives about teachings that he taught. So there, he assembled all the people. One narrative. Okay, I'll go into the narrative. So now, I have a bone to pick with the synagogues. Where do you daven, basically, your parents? Where do they go?
Rabbi Ginsburg Shul. Rabbi Ginsburg Shul.
Oh, Rabbi Ginsburg, the blue shul.
Yeah. It's not blue anymore.
It's not that, what?
It's not blue anymore. But
how they call it, they have the red...
the red shul.
Wait, first of all, the white shul. The white shul in Far Rockaway. The white shul, right?
Yeah.
And then, if you want to mention the young Israel, Far Rockaway.
Yeah.
That's our uncle's shul.
My grandfather, yeah.
Oh, your grandfather, I'm sorry. So that was the white shul, and then they came over here to the Five Town, and they built the red shul, which became, where did that go? That became a good, the red shul became, they have a color there, red shul, and then the Rabbi Ginsburg came out with a blue shul.
Yeah.
So they do all these names, you don't need to, you just look at the color. So, the one thing is defund the media, very important. The media is just, it's not much different than the communist propaganda. I mean, the communist Pravda, I mean, they toe the party line. And the media defunds, you should be defunded, because they just talk about the Democratic Party as a godsend, and even Biden, who has so many gaffes. He forgot his wife's name. He came on one day. I mean, it's ridiculous. The guy is mental. He can read a speech and put a lot of emphasis in it, like he loves you. But he couldn't answer any questions of what's happening, what's in the bill where they passed the climate control anti-inflation bill. You can't ask him that. He can sign the paper and give you the pen away, but he will never speak to the reporters, because he don't know how to answer. He will never speak to reporters. Like Trump took questions all the time. Not Biden. He don't know anything. He has just a general idea, but he doesn't know anything. He knows how to take a pen, write his signature on it, give it the pens away, and then he give a nice smile and read a speech. He's a good reader. He could be good in elementary school. Fifth BDS comments, boycott. Ben and Jerry. Do we buy Ben and Jerry?
No.
No. Why not? Because Ben and Jerry's telling us that he's not even a citizen of Israel, and he's telling us what we can boycott Israel. For what? Because Israel took our land, Arab land. God promised the land of Israel to Abraham 7 times. 7 times he promised it to to Abraham. So who are you going to tell me that? And 3 times to Isaac and 1 time to Jacob. So what are you going to tell me? We're going to, yeah, you're going to. The Palestinians that came lately and they say, oh, we need a land. They got 22 Arab countries. 22 Arab countries. We know the borders that and look at chapter 34 in Numbers. Chapter 34 in Numbers, it tells you, delineates the borders. And what is chapter 33, the deal in Numbers? It talks about the different stops that the Jews made in the desert before going to Israel, crossing over. And, yeah. 42 stops. And where's the longest stop they made? Was 19 years. So that's in 33. So the borders and yeah, these are this will tell you the borders. The divinely given borders. Not with Biden. He's telling, and Obama in the background. Biden don't have the brains to do all this. He just stuffing the Arabs and the terrorists with money, and with that money they're paying these creeps to kill Jews. It's the money that me and you pay taxes with. What a travesty. So again, Art Scrolls is your rabbi. You got a Torah. I'll give you a copy of the first page of the Talmud. Here it is. Torah for all. Torah for all. 349 Rugby, Cedarhurst, 11516. We'll give you we'll send you a copy, self-addressed envelope. Trip through Torah. You want to talk on anything that you want me to talk about? Anything that you want me to clear up or try to clear up, whatever. Anything that's in your mind, offhand? Think about, yeah.
Not that I could think of.
Okay, so we'll think a little bit harder. So we got the covenant that was given to Abraham, chapter 18, verse 19. For I know Abraham will teach his children and his household the ways of God. Gave it to Abraham because